Good morning, good morning, good morning, good people, fellow humans. By that, as always, I mean colorful nuts. Here we are. Today is Sunday, March 29th, 2026. This is episode number 234 of G.school, and we do 2 a week. So divide that by 2, 117 weeks in a row we have been doing this. This is going to be our last, the verdict is in, this is going to be our last episode of G.school. This is going to be this is the last week, the last Sunday of the program, the neuroscience-oriented approach to success. And in May, we will start the new one, the new daily podcast that is on, well, I don't have a book available, but it is on the WDJAS project. What did Jesus actually say.org? That's a long name. Jesus actually say.org daily podcast. So that is a introduction. No, it's a daily discussion about a Copernican revolution, about a different way to look at Jesus and or God, etc. But it is designed for non-Christians. We'll talk more about that in a little while later. But this is week number 117, episode 234. The TED Talk for today is Amy Cuddy. It is altogether fitting and proper that this will be the last Sunday, the last, we have tomorrow, the 30th and the 31st. We're going all the way to the end. But it is altogether fitting and proper that Amy Cuddy is the last person on for G.school. And yeah, so we're going to talk about that. That's about body language. The themo-memo of today is, okay, who stole the themo-memo? Let me fix this right now. The themo-memo of today is episode number 234. Is body language and long odds. Okay, body language and long odds. All righty then. So let's get our advice from an 80-year-old. Don't burn bridges. You'll be surprised how many times you have to cross the same river twice. Right. Don't burn bridges. Don't get to the other side of the bridge, of the other side of the river. Burn the bridge, because you might have to go back over that bridge. You'll be surprised how many times. Don't write people off. As I say, I don't believe in writing people off. And then I do, and somebody says, hey, you never write people off. I said, no, I said, I don't believe in it. I'll do it if I have to, but I don't believe in it. It's a last resort. Yeah, right. But let's talk about that for a second. However, I implement Luke 17:3 about forgiveness. So I wouldn't say I write people off. I wouldn't say I don't write people off. I let it go. So I believe Luke 17:3. If your brother sins against you, rebuke him. And if he repents, forgive him. So if someone does you wrong, then that's red letter. That's Jesus. Luke 17, that is Jesus. Yes, I know Jesus had turned the other cheek. They're not incompatible. And in the big scheme of things, I think it would be turn the other cheek would be to let it go. To let it go. Okay, but it's not the same as forgive. To be forgiven, just like us to God, we have to, first of all, be rebuked and then repent. So if I sin to make things right, you have to rebuke me. So I have to take the full force from you of what I did, understand it, and then repent. Have a change of heart and mind. I will never do that again attitude. Okay, so don't burn bridges. You'll be surprised how many times you have to cross over them. So I would say if the person does not, so this would be about us sinning. Don't sin against other people, because you're going to have to, one reason here is you're going to have to face them again. You're going to have to go back. And pragmatically speaking, it's a dumb thing to do. Yeah, you can build the bridge again. You can build it somewhere else. You can build a new bridge. But you're going to have to use it again. Okay, so let's see. Seth Godin, long odds and unseen differences. The odds of winning the lottery are the same whether you buy a ticket or not. This seems nonsensical at first. Obviously, there are lottery winners. Therefore, the odds aren't the same. Except we're not mathematicians doing a math problem, at least most of us. Odds are how we navigate the world. When they're sufficiently low, the useful approach is to assume that they're zero. Sort of how we deal with invisible signals. There's sound in a very quiet room, but we can't hear it. There's light in a very dark room, but we can't see it. Those never go to zero, but we treat them as if they do. Right. To go into a place with pure darkness, it would be like going into a mine shaft. The story of playing very long odds might give you hope or solace or energize you. That's what they make movies about, after all. But in practice, you're buying that story, not a useful chance of winning something. Paul McGowan points out that the difference between a $500 stereo and a $5,000 stereo is enormous. But the difference between the more expensive stereo sound and one costing $50,000 is vanishingly small. Soon it becomes a story, not a sound. Buy the best story you can afford with all the benefits it comes with, but don't be confused by the odds or tiny differences. They're probably zero. Okay, so that is another one of those Seth Godin. Have to read it again to truly understand it, but I know it's good because it is from Seth Godin. Right you are, mate. Let us see. Beep, beep, bop, boop. Okay, we got advice from an 80-year-old Seth Godin. Now we're to Amy Cuddy. Amy Cuddy, Harvard Business School professor who notices and in Harvard Business School, a significant part of your grade is class participation. So it doesn't matter how smart you are. If you do not participate, you are not going to get an A, and probably not even a B. Maybe a low B, but you're not going to get an A. Why? Because you have to participate. You can't get all the points. So she noticed patterns of people participating. And first she noticed it went along gender lines. Small Chinese Asian women did not do well in class because they did not participate. Big athletic type guys did better because they did participate. And she would notice in class when they would come in, they would take up a lot of space. Whereas the women, say the Chinese women, the Asian women, would take up little space. And they would ask questions like this, or the guys would ask questions like that. And so she noticed that she was noticing their body language. And she also had experience in her life of being the person who was struggling to get good grades and didn't have confidence. So she could relate. There was a problem her brain was focused on. How do I help, or what do I learn from these people who are not participating? And I notice them very easy. I can walk in a room and I can spot them. Bing, 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 bing. Another good reason for your kids to play sports, competitive sports. It learns to give them confidence or anything. But sports is good because you're in the tussle competing with other people. So, Amy Cuddy says what we all know. I notice your body language, what your body language says to me. She walks into class, she looks around, takes a little survey. This person's this person's that, based upon their body language. I'm like this, or I'm like this. I notice their body language. So that's what their body language says to me. And my body language is saying things to them. And Amy Cuddy says something to the effect that nonverbal is we communicate more through nonverbal language than verbal language. So you're communicating your nonverbals to me. I'm communicating my nonverbals to you. Question: do my nonverbals say anything to me? Do they communicate anything to me? And can I change them? So she did a series of experiments, and what she discovered is that my nonverbals can communicate to me, change my feelings. So she came up with power posing. Will it change my body chemistry by making myself big for 2 minutes? Will it increase my testosterone and lower my cortisol if I am big, stretch out for 2 minutes? Will I feel better by doing that? And then she did a bunch of controlled experiments, double-blind experiments with people, and wrote a book and became very famous, and had, or maybe still has, the largest, the most viewed TED Talk of all time. She had for many, many years, and maybe still does, but she's certainly one of the top 10, and probably will remain that way because there are so many TED Talks now coming out that when she came out, everybody watched that one. Now more people are watching a lot more TED Talks. Anyway, so power posing, an important thing to do. Why? Well, what we're not going to learn, because we're not going to be doing this next week, but what we would have learned is by doing this, we release neurochemicals in our brain that are the same as if we actually won a race and we're doing this pose, which is a common, Amy Cuddy says, this is a common pose for people when they win. They make themselves very large. Even athletes who are born blind, who've never seen anybody do it, when they win, this is the thing we do. And animals do it. Chimpanzees, they make themselves big. They have an abundance of testosterone. And ones that the opposite would be cortisol, and they make themselves small. So Amy Cuddy's idea, increase testosterone, decrease cortisol. Make ourselves big, don't make ourselves small. So when you're sitting for an interview and you're in the waiting room, or you're waiting for something, don't sit hunched over watching your phone, doing things on your phone. She says, go in the bathroom in the stall, and for 2 minutes, make yourself large. Put your feet up on the desk, not in the interview, but when you have one and you're talking to people, make yourself big, release testosterone. So what we learned from Amy Cuddy is that a couple of things. One, our body language does affect us. And two, we can do things to stimulate the release of neurochemicals that make us feel good. All right, so let us move on. We've got 3 minutes left for this last one. Yes, we are going to be moving to a new podcast in May. We will be announcing it through the month. We'll be publishing short little ones, teaser videos about what we're doing, but basically is what did Jesus actually say? A Copernican revolution. Copernican revolution, which means what? Well, it's kind of an interesting thing. Nicholas Copernicus came along and did the math to show that the Earth revolves around the sun. It's not as the Bible said, where the sun revolves around the Earth. And that was a big deal. That was a big, big deal. And the church was opposed to it for a long, long time. But then people accepted the math, and they accepted it was true, and everything has changed. So the Copernican revolution is basically just a way of saying there are well-entrenched beliefs that happen to be wrong. And the Copernican revolution is to look at it the other way. And in the case of the heliocentricness of the Earth and Sun, the Earth going around the Sun, that followed Occam's razor, because perhaps they got up to the best scientists, astronomers, got up to 95% explaining the motion of the planets, but they couldn't get it right. And it would seem like the smartest guys were almost there creating theories of the Earth going around the sun. But there was just a problem that if all of these things are going around the Earth, it looks like Mars in particular goes like this, and then it goes backwards, and then it goes forward again. Because what's happening, the Earth and Mars are both traveling around the sun. And as the Earth is catching up to Mars, if you hold the Earth steady, it looks like Mars is going backwards. And then once the Earth passes Mars, now it's following along. And so they had ideas for that. But we are out of time. time, such a runic rhyme.